Hello, everyone. It's time for Vanished Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanas. This is episode 209, season 9. Today's date is March 28th, 2023, and welcome to the show. On today's program, I will talk about three things. Number one, I will talk about Cal's Roast Beef. This restaurant is still remembered to this day, and it was in business during the 1970s, and a lot of people miss it. Second, I will talk about the 50th anniversary of the album recorded by Pink Floyd, The Dark Side of the Moon. I'll talk a little bit about that, my memories of that particular album. And third, I will talk about my recent interview with Chicago Magazine. Oh, that was a surprise to everyone. I kept it in, and that was a lot of fun. So, right now the program will go into a commercial break, and this program is brought to you by Mr. Muscle Oven Cleaner. I remember this product very well. And here's a commercial from the late 1970s. When you listen to the commercial, you will recognize the actress speaking. And once it's over, and when I return, I will tell you who it is. Okay, so sit back, kick off your shoes, and relax, and I'll be right back. Thank you, everyone.
Be a good cook, Mother said you'll get a man. What did I get? 25 years with my head in a dirty oven, scraping, scrubbing.
Well, there's a really different oven cleaner that's less work.
Sure.
But it's specially formulated to work overnight.
Oh?
Introducing Mr. Muscle. Spray it on at night. While you sleep, its self-scouring foam penetrates through and absorbs baked-on grime. Next morning, just wipe clean.
Mr. Muscle, you're a good man to wake up to.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Mr. Muscle Oven Cleaner. That actress that was speaking in the commercial was none other than Charlotte Rae. You remember her from Car 54? From the early 60s, and also from the 1970s, Mrs. Garrett, the housekeeper from Different Strokes. And then she moved on to the spinoff, The Facts of Life. Oh, she was a funny lady, a wonderful actress, And I love the show. To tell you, I like Facts of Life better than Different Strokes. I don't know why. There's some strange appeal to this show. Once an episode is on, I'll start watching it. I can understand why. Some of the dialogue's kind of weird, but that's okay. But I like the show. I really did. It's fun. Okay. At the beginning of the program, I mentioned the three things I will speak about is the restaurant Cal's Roast Beef, also the 50th anniversary of the album by Pink Floyd, The Dark Side of the Moon, and of course, my interview with Chicago Magazine. All right. Before I get started, one thing, I was going to the doctor last week, excuse me. I finally got my test results. Not the urologist, my regular doctor. He says, you're okay. Your cholesterol's fine. Actually, I've taken medication. Your cholesterol is way down. So that's good news. Your heart rate is good. I had an EKG done. Your blood pressure is great and all that. I had a PSA done, but I'm not going to reveal it. No. I'll save that for next in a few weeks. But it's promising. So that's good news. So I'm going to see the urologist just to be sure. The only thing I'm concerned is my calcium in my body is a little high. And my doctor said you have to, it's probably due to the effect of the Orgovix, the prostate cancer drug. that's controlling the PAC. Okay, so we'll see what happens. Maybe the doctor will take it off or try another one. I'm a little concerned because if he takes it off of me, the PSA will rise. So we'll see. It's up to him. For the Xtandi, the other one, it's working. I'm less tired now, and not sweat, not warm, not really. That's gone away since about the past few days. Still a little fatigued, but I can't do like chores and all that. I do a little bit, then I lie down. It's hard. It really is. So I'm trying. I'm trying it because I miss walking. I want to go back to my walking. Yeah, it feels good. I'm eating well, and I've lost weight a little bit, not too much. Everything's okay. I'll keep you I'll keep you posted as time goes on. Trust me. All right, now let's go back to the good stuff. But first, I'll talk about the interview for Chicago Magazine. I was contacted by someone, and he said, "Well, why don't we get together and we could talk about your podcast?" And I said, "Oh, okay." So we met up in Vito and Nick's, that famous pizza place on 84th Street and South Pulaski. Because it's right near it was right near my old neighborhood. I didn't go much there when I was growing up. I had my pizza at Luigi's at first, and that was a little south. Well, not really south. It was like a little south across the street. Now it's Conti's. Then it was very popular then from the 60s and 70s. Oh, the pizza, I miss it. It's delicious. Of course, there's Angie's Pizza across the street. That is good too. Okay, so we suggest to go somewhere iconic for lunch and then have the interview done. And we talked about, he was asking me questions about the neighborhood, the places that I remember growing up, because I grew up in South Shore, Roseland, and then to Ashburn. South Shore, I remember a few places because it was very little. Because I left when I was 6 or 5 or 6, like in 1969. Then I moved to Roseland, and we lived above a shoe store where my father owned the property. That was Shoes on Michigan Avenue near 111th Street. And I talked about him, Gately's People Store, all the stores. It was a magical place. It was beautiful and all that. And then we moved to Ashburn in 1974. And I was explaining to the reporter that, all the places I hung out, when I was a kid, like Edwards Drugstore, Barnaby's Pizza, Toby's. This is during high school, and also the White Castles across the street. So I got into my car, and he came with me. He came by bus, and then we drove around the neighborhood. Oh, by the way, the pizza was delicious. So, and we drove around. And then we went to my old house. We didn't go inside, and it's changed so much. It's painted. It looks nice. It really is. The garage is remodeled. They have gates, but in the front it's gated, and the front lawn is gone. It's just paved like that. That was bizarre. And the front porch is painted black. Used to be like gray. It's kind of bizarre. I don't know why. It's their house. They could do what they want. Because I lived there from 1974 to 1995, and then I moved to the suburbs. And then, so I was waiting and waiting for it to be published. And then the reporter asked me a few questions. And then it was published on Sunday. And then that was nice. And then I asked him, can I post this all over social media? I says, of course, you can do that, just to generate readers like that. And I have a lot of texts and emails and people who commented on Facebook and Twitter, and they said, good job. I loved the interview. It's wonderful. It really is wonderful. So a big thanks to Chicago Magazine and also to the reporter Edward Robert McClelland. His name is Ted. Sorry, Ted. Very nice man. Very nice. And he was fascinating. And also in the article, there's a picture of me and my brothers in front of the Chicken Unlimited. That was on in front of that at 111th in Michigan. I miss that place, and so do a lot of people. It was good chicken. Mm. And if you'd like to read the article, please do. Go to chicagomag.com. It's right there. And it is titled Revisiting What Has Disappeared. Good title. And it's about me talking about Vanished Chicagoland on my podcast and my memories of businesses that faded in history, which is true. Yeah, because I won't read what's in the article. You have to read it for yourself. It's not lengthy, but it's a good size. I enjoyed it very much. I showed it to my family. I've got feedback from my from them and friends, some people from church, and a couple of people from the media. They loved it. That's great. Thank you again, Chicago Magazine, and thank you, Ted. Okay. Right now, we're going to talk about Cal's roast beef. Okay. We'll talk about that. There's not much history about this place, just my memories, but this is what I can find recently about this. Let's see what we got. All I know is the man who founded the place, his name was Richard Blankenship, and he was the president of Archie's Food Systems, and he operated Cal's Roast Beef. And I think it opened about 71, 72, something like that. I lived in Roseland. There was no locations there. It was until I moved to Ashburn in 1974, and then about later on, some people mentioned this place. Excuse me. So, and then it became very popular. It was famous for roast beef. A lot of people say it was better than Arby's, and I quite agree with that. Yeah, Arby's is still around. I just had lunch over there not too long ago. It's still okay, but it's not the same. And then, I don't know which restaurant opened. Some people told me maybe it was up north or south, somewhere in Homewood or Des Plaines. I don't know. I'm sorry. I really don't know. And then it just expanded and became very popular, and they loved it. They really did. And I found the locations of the place. Before I get to the locations, I'm going to tell you my memory. I remember a memory of going there. One time, my mom and my brothers, we went to church, and then we met up with a friend of hers with her kids. And she suggested, "Why don't we go to Cal's?" And I go, "What's Cal's?" I never heard of this. My mom didn't know either. And she's been there before because she moved. She lived in Palos Hills. And she says, "Let's go." And I said, "All right." So we go. My mom was a little reluctant because she doesn't eat out, not fast food. But the one we went to was in Worth, Illinois, and this was located at 6711 West 111th Street. And I was amazed like that. So we ordered roast beef. My mom ordered roast beef sandwich, which I was very surprised, and she loved it. She really did. She liked Arby's at first, We went another time at Arby's that's still there at 78th and Cicero in Scottsdale, in the Scottsdale neighborhood, that is. She liked that, but it's changed. But in Worth, we went there, and like I said, my mom had roast beef sandwich, and we had some fries and onion rings, and that was great. And then we went a couple times after. This was on Sunday, and we enjoyed it. They really did. And my brothers liked it too. I loved it too. I went a couple of times with my friends, maybe during high school, and sometimes alone. I always do that, when you're hungry. And it was amazing. It really was. It was delicious. And they did not just have. Before I get to, I'm sorry. Before I get to the locations, I will talk about the menu of this place. First, it was called Cal's Corn-Fed Beef. I think they changed it later to roast beef, Cal's roast beef. And they had not just roast beef, they had ham and Swiss, and the bread was like ham and Swiss, and the corned beef and the Reuben were on Rosen Rye. I think it's that brand. And so they had roast beef, ham and Swiss, Reuben. Okay, let me start it over. Roast beef, ham and Swiss, corned beef, Reuben. They also had ranch dog, chili dogs. So there were hot dogs. They had fish. Also, they had hamburgers. Hamburger, cheeseburger. If you want a double, help yourself. They had chili. They had children's specials and senior citizen discounts. That's kind of cool. And then if you had coupons, you can use those as well. Also, I remember the trays of that. It was like cafeteria, like Bonanza or like in the cafeteria. You pick them up. I found a couple of trays on eBay like that. I posted them like a few years ago on my page, Fantasy Chicagoland. Also, they were selling like comic books at the time. So that was kind of cool like that. It really was. And then let's see. Yeah, so I never had a hamburger there or a cheeseburger, just the roast beef. That's what I think most people went there for that. They really did, for that particular item. And a lot of people were very happy. So here is the locations. I'm going to read off. It might ring a bell. If you still live in the area or you have moved away, that's fine. So here we go. I mentioned it was at 6711 West 111th Street in Worth. Also, it was at 1560 Lee Street in Des Plaines. Also, it was in Elgin, 1169 Dundee Avenue. Also in Schaumburg, 426 Higgins Road. Also in Dalton, 1144 East Sibley Boulevard. Also in Waukegan, 557 South Green Bay Road. Also in Oak Lawn, at 95th and Cicero. I remember that. Also, it was at 9001 Milwaukee Avenue in Niles. Also, 18 West 202 Ogden Avenue in Westmont. Also, it was in Lansing at 173rd and Torrance by I-80. Also in Alsip at 127th and Route 83, near Tri-State. And also in Homewood at 183rd Street and Dixie Highway. And they had one in Griffith, Indiana. They had that too. And then they added more locations. And I'll try to remember like that. Let's see. So they did have one near my neighborhood. And it was at 8231 South Cicero. That's probably near Bonanza. Right there. Right in the border of Chicago and Burbank. And let's see what else. They had one in Wakanda, Illinois. 4088 Liberty Street by Route 176. They had one in Richton Park at 222 30 South Governor's Highway. Also in Rolling Meadows. I don't have the address. They opened in St. Charles. Let's see. So, and also two in Wisconsin, one in Kenosha and one in Racine. Also in Indiana, they opened one in Gary and another one and then in Maryville, Indiana, and also in Valparaiso. They opened one there too, like that. And let's see. They also had Chicken City. that was like a place next to it. So if you didn't want roast beef or a hamburger, you go get some chicken, which is great. And then, so not all of them had Chicken City, USA. The last one they had with Chicken City was in Crete, Illinois. It's a little way south, like that, like in Will County. And that was in business for a long, long time. And then it stopped about maybe 10 years ago, maybe less than that. And some people went there and I don't know if they sold roast beef. I don't think so. They just sold chicken. According to some people on Facebook, they said it was good. It was good. It really was. So, and then all of a sudden, in 1980, they were sold. I don't know the reason why. They just, I guess, the president wanted to get out of the fast food business and concentrate on other things. So, some of them converted into Arby's. They sold them to that, and others just closed down. And there are still buildings, maybe a couple buildings that they have the architecture, and you would drive by and you recognize it. It is Cal's. You would do that, and that was disappointing. I'm sure and other people were probably disappointed as well because wow, it's amazing. They didn't. I don't remember if they advertised on TV. I think so. Maybe on Channel 32 in Chicago. Maybe. Probably. I don't know. But anyway, I guess word of mouth worked for this place. So that's another place that went into oblivion. But that's a shame. It really is. I wish Cal's would come back. I doubt it. Okay. Right now, I would take a quick break, and when I come back, I'll talk about the 50th anniversary of the album "The Dark Side of the Moon" by Pink Floyd. So just sit back, and I'll be right back. Thank you, everyone. Okay, everyone, I am back. That was a quick break. Right now, I'm going to talk about the 50th anniversary of the release of "Dark Side of the Moon" by Pink Floyd. That studio album that was very innovative and very very unique at that time. So I'll give you a little history and a couple memories of this. It was released on March 1st, 1973, and it was recorded in London by Pink Floyd. Let's see what we got. So, I'm trying to get let's see. So, all the lyrics were written by Roger Waters. So that's good to know. Like that. And the rock band, they were formed in London in 1965. They were popular, but not as popular as before. So the Dark Side of the Moon was their 8th album. They recorded other albums previously, but I don't think a lot of people knew that. They didn't know. And let's see what else. So, like I said, it was recorded by 4 guys like that. And let's see, there was Syd Barrett, David Gilmour, Roger Waters, Richard Wright, and also on the drums was Nick Mason. There were others that went there. They came and go. It came and went. Like that. Actually, to tell you the truth, I liked The Wall when I was in high school. That album was good. I have to confess, like that. So, about this album, Dark Side of the Moon, what's unique about this is the album cover, where you have the prism. It was black with the prism and with the the light, with the rainbow light going through. When I first saw this, I was kind of taken aback. It was like, wow, this is gorgeous. Whoa. I first saw this album cover when I was on the school bus in elementary school. Somehow, some kid brought it, and I was afraid to ask, And then, but I asked somebody, this kid next to me goes, "What is that? What's that album?" He said, "Dark Side of the Moon" by Pink Floyd. And I go, "Oh, okay." And so later on, before I get into that, I never owned this album. I got to be honest. I know I'm going to get a lot of booze and all that, but I never owned it. I never did. So I always listened to it on the radio, usually on WLS, AM or FM radio. Also, then on the loop, they used to play that all the time, or WCKG, but I think it was the loop they played, 97.9 during high school. And also, I don't know if WMET played it, 95 and a half FM, maybe, probably. Anyway, so the tracks on the album were just legendary, and they're famous songs. So I'll read them off real quickly. Like I said before, they're all written by Roger Waters. Number one, it was "Speak to Me." It was instrumental. Then you have "Breathe in the Air," and then you have "On the Run," and "Time." That's a good song. "The Great Gig in the Sky." Oh, people like that one. They like that song. Also, that was side one of the album. Side two was "Money," the most famous song of all. And the beginning of the song, you hear like a cash register, or like you hear coins dropping, or like an adding machine, with dropping the coins in there. It's like, and like you enter the keys, and then like that. That's kind of cool. And then you have "Us and Them," "Any Color You Like," "Brain Damage," and then you have "Eclipse." You have that. So it was released, and then the sales was phenomenal, and it became one of the best-selling albums of all time. And it remained on the Billboard 200 for 736 weeks, non-consecutive weeks. It was there all the way from March 17th, 1973, all the way to July 16th of 1988. Long time. And then it reappeared in the early 90s, and it's still, it's still selling. I think it is. It's still selling. Oh my God, it's people still buying it, I guess. But right now, you download it and you buy it on Apple Music, or you can listen to it on YouTube if you like. But I prefer, like an old fogey like me, you like to listen to on a record player or like that, and it's wonderful. It really is. And I was going to buy the record album at the record store near my house in Ashburn, at Cruising Music too, but I didn't buy it. I don't know why, but I think my brother did. I think he did buy it, and I don't know if he still has it, or I don't know where it is, or he took it with him, because he lives in California. But I'm glad he did. And we played it a few times on a record player. I don't know why I didn't buy it, but he wasn't angry at me for that. It sounded wonderful. And so the record album, that is, but everyone talked about Pink Floyd in that album. And I remember when they went in concert in Chicago in the late, like the mid 1970s. Oh, it was great. I'm sure they played their songs on that album, Dark Side of the Moon. And Pink Floyd then recorded other albums, For the Wall. I like that album. I really did. And others. And then I don't know if the band broke up, or They just they still recording somewhat, but not really like that. But they say money is very it's a favorite. Money and Time. Those are the two singles that's still played on the radio. And when I listen to it, I love listening to it on the radio or even on my Apple Music, which is great. It's been reissued, it's been remastered, and all that, and which is kind of nice. Also, the funny thing about this album in the 90s, it was discovered when you played this album, you would watch the 1939 film The Wizard of Oz, and you synchronized that, and that was weird. I never done this, and I think maybe some people have, you know, maybe some crazy idea, but I don't know. So I don't know who thought of this idea. Maybe I'll try it sometime, but I don't. I doubt it. So you tried to simultaneously play the record and then watch the movie. I love the movie. Always, I watch it all the time. But it's kind of bizarre. It really is. Who knew? Like that. But a lot of I've heard when I was growing up, I heard the songs played from other people. Like you visit their house, they play it on on vinyl or an 8-track or cassette. Sometimes in their cars where they had 8-track tapes or cassette tapes. Also CDs that came later. Of course, it's on CD like that. But the album, itself, like an album cover, vinyl, that's a classic. It really is. Okay. So that's it for this program. And I had fun. I really did. So I'll do a recap of what I talked about today. I talked about the Cal's Roast Beef restaurants. They were in the 1970s. Also, I talked about the 50th anniversary of the album Dark Side of the Moon, recorded by Pink Floyd. Also, my recent interview with Chicago Magazine. All right. So I will do another podcast episode probably this weekend. I know I said before I was going to wait till this weekend, but I had time today to do one. So that's great. Okay. So this is Pete Costanis, your host of Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Thank you for joining me. I had a good time talking. And I hope everyone have a great day. And here's bye-bye for me. I'm sorry. And here's Ray Rayner closing the show with a little traveling music saying bye, bye, bye. So take it away, Ray. So long, everyone, and take care.
We have to go. Bye, bye, bye.